With all that said, I just want to talk a little bit about the future, I think, of the ICHRA program and a little bit more about who it makes sense for, if it makes sense at all. Um, if you're a business with over 25 employees, we talked about how SHOP wouldn't work for you. You're in that 25 to 50 range. I do think the ICHRA program is something you might want to consider, that you might have to consider really, on par with any sort of level funded plan that I described, in the sense that what the ICHRAs allow you to do, what SHOP didn't allow you to do, is it allows you to carve out employees on a different basis depending on how they work for you. But that being said, it's very difficult to carve out on a medical basis, where you can kind of carve out certain employees for a level funded plan and then carve out other employees for ICHRA or whatever else that's not medically underwritten. That is a very difficult thing to do. But when you're dealing with 25 to 50 employees and it's difficult to carve out, I understand it just takes a couple of high spenders to really make the costs shoot up big time, especially when you're funding your own claims, making the level funded plan more cost prohibitive from that vantage point. So, not to say that you shouldn't consider level funded plans. Based on the chart, it gives you a more precise idea as to how to look into it. Especially, let me go back here. Especially that second chart in red. Remember the ICHRA versus level funded. But then again, because they have carve outs, but it's difficult to carve out on the ICHRA. It might be difficult to qualify for an affordable level funded plan if you have too many high cost spenders in your group. That being said, that's not to say that if you are 25 to 50 employees that you shouldn't consider level funded at all. I still think that should be something that you look at and really should still be your primary option, just because of the added flexibility that the level funded plans or the level funded market offers you that you don't find with the ICHRA program, but just a little bit more convoluted at that point. And as far as the future, it is difficult to say, but what I don't like is when you have these level funded options, when you have even the individual marketplace as an option, when you have what I talked about in video number 1 with the MECs and even other types of coverage out there that I didn't even really get too into, all these different markets that can underwrite employees and pick and choose who they want, it makes, from a risk pool standpoint, it makes ICHRAs very tenuous as far as competing on a competitive price point for employers. So unlike others out there, I don't consider ICHRAs to be a long-term solution. If it makes sense for you, like any insurance product, we take it year to year. But from that vantage point, I'm not too optimistic about the future of ICHRAs. And that's just from a policy standpoint. But I think what you take out of that as a small business is take this year to year. Take this even 2 years, every 2 years, and re-examine things. You're going to have to. The ICHRAs are not a perfect save-all option for everybody that used to just buy small group insurance the regular way out there. Even the ICHRAs, from some inherent standpoints, have disadvantages that I think are going to make them more and more difficult to compete on as time goes on. So I leave it at that. Again, here are the charts, and I'll go over it one more time. This chart for anyone looking to offer an ICHRA versus the individual marketplace, and if you choose to offer an ICHRA, this chart is for when level funded plans make sense over the ICHRA.